Welcome to episode 65 of the Princeton Podcast, sponsored by the Municipality of Princeton, encouraging civic participation and amplifying the voices that shape our community. In this episode, Mayor Mark Frieda is joined by Peter Gaines, the new head of school at Princeton Friends School. With preschool through 8th grade now united on campus, Peter reflects on Princeton Friends School's Quaker approach to learning and how their guiding values of simplicity, peace, integrity, community, equality, and stewardship enhance the school's small classes, student voice, and a supportive culture for every child. Peter and Mark explore how the school's unique setting, bordering the Institute Woods and Princeton Battlefield, inspires outdoor learning through gardens, stream studies, and a new biking program that connects students to the town. Peter also highlights Princeton Friends School's signature traditions, including storytelling, poetry night, and this year's central study theme, Roots and Routes, which ties learning to local history. So without any further introduction, let's join our host, Mark Frieda, and his guest, Peter Gaines, for episode 65 of the Princeton Podcast.
Peter, thanks for being here today.
Mark, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate the warm welcome.
Yeah, no, we like to have folks here, and we like to talk about, well, today we're going to talk about the Princeton Friends School, but we're also going to talk some about you, so we'll see if we can put you on the hot seat a little bit here at some point.
Okay.
But maybe we could start with, when did what we know as the Princeton Friends School come into existence?
Yeah, absolutely. Princeton Friends School started in 1987, was our founding year. And the story of the opening of the school is really pretty wonderful and special and important to the way the school functions today. We were founded by a group of local, progressive, independent school educators who were working at an area school and thinking about all the ways that school can happen in the best possible manner for kids. They were working specifically with upper elementary and middle school students and thinking about what's best for young people. And they both were in a relationship with Quakerism and approached the Princeton Monthly Meeting, which has been on the grounds where our school is for nearly 300 years now. And they shared their vision and were able to give rise to a school that was made space for a progressive Quaker education for young people. And we're here living out that vision still. So,
Yeah. Wow, that's a nice story.
Yeah.
So what type of education does the Friends School provide? Give us a little more detail on that.
Sure. So what's distinctive about our school is that we are Quaker and progressive. And what that really amounts to, particularly when it's paired with the way that our students and teachers are able to use the natural environment of the school, is a situation where our kids they literally have a great deal of space to be themselves, grow into themselves, bring their curiosity with them to school, think about what it looks like to, get in touch with what's inside of them that they want to carry out into the world. I've had a long experience with Quaker schools. This is the third Quaker school that I'm working at, and I went to a Quaker school growing up as well. And in the Quaker philosophy is this idea that inside of each of us is an inner light, is something of the divine. And on a campus like ours, part of what that means is that every child arrives on campus and every adult on campus is looking at every kid through that lens of, where is that in you that is that inner light that I can help you see and I can help grow brighter and express into the world. And because of our setup, and I don't know, have you spent time on our campus ever?
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times.
Yeah. So it's a pretty remarkable place. When you drive up to campus, depending on how you're coming in, you're driving past the farm and Stony Brook, and you pull in and you're surrounded by the Institute Woods and the battlefield. And we're in this little oasis of protected childhood where kids feel safe to be themselves and met each day by a group of teachers who are just passionate about getting to know them and passionate about their subject areas and what it means to teach and learn and be in an environment where kids are supported and nurtured and grown in that way. And inside of our mission is this notion that our kids are getting prepared for lives ahead in the world that is, and also that every day on our campus, we're modeling for kids the possibilities of what the world can be. And I think that's part of what's so special about our school, is that kids are given in a lot of ways tools that I think help them think about how to bring into the world an antidote for some of the things that are complex and difficult about the world today too.
It's very interesting. And it sounds pretty cool if you're a student there.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure there's a better place to be a kid.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So you opened the door, you talked a little bit about yourself in there. So
Yeah.
first of all, let me hit you with this one. You recently started at the school. I mean,
Yeah.
you're fairly new to the school. So what was your like official first date and how's it going so far?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm new to the area and new to the school. I started on July 1st was my official first day.
Yeah.
I have been living for the last 9 years in Charlottesville, Virginia, working at a school, Quaker school, progressive Quaker school in Charlottesville, Virginia called Princeton Friends School. And I did live in Philadelphia for 11 years and grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. And so in a lot of ways, coming to this area feels like coming home. I spent my childhood driving up and down the New Jersey Turnpike to visit grandparents in New York. And also in my 11 years in Philadelphia, I spent 10 of them working at a big Quaker school there and used to bring kids out to Princeton to see readings at the university. I have a really wonderful memory of sitting and listening to Seamus Heaney read poetry with a group of my English students and kind of looking around at the luminaries in the crowd. And so it's been a wonderful arrival at the school. I think our community, I was drawn immediately to really the exchange of humanity in the community that is Princeton Friends School. I think that the people working at the school are just exceptional educators who are so devoted to their craft and devoted to the kids in their care. And I think our families are a group of people who are grateful for what the school provides for their kids and are excited to bring their kids to campus and hang out at drop-off and connect with each other. And it's been a very warm welcome that I've been grateful for and I'm proud to be a part of.
Oh, nice to hear. Could you share some of your formal education from your background that helped prepare you to get into these roles at the different Friends schools you've been at?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Baltimore, like I said, and went to Friends School in Baltimore. I was actually a kid who, and my parents sent me to our local elementary school in Baltimore, and I was there up through fourth grade when they moved me over to Friends School of Baltimore. And I had the good fortune of being a student there through graduation. Went off to Colby College in Waterville, Maine, and studied English at Colby. And when I graduated from Colby, I was interested in education and had an opportunity to take a job with the Stepping Stone Scholars Program, which is an organization that had just expanded into Philadelphia, has now since merged into an organization called Heights in Philadelphia. And it's really an organization that's designed to support access to independent schools for families who otherwise would not be able to access those opportunities. And in my time at Stepping Stone, we worked with all of the area independent schools. And one of them approached me about an opportunity to join their admissions office in their English department. And I took a job at Abington Friends School just outside of Philadelphia, teaching English and doing admissions, and spent 10 wonderful years there. Had an opportunity while I was at Abington Friends to participate in a program that's offered by the Friends Council on Education, which is the umbrella organization that oversees all of the Friends schools around the country and the world. And they have a 2-year program that is designed to foster leadership in Friends schools. And also during my time at Abington Friends, I went and pursued a master's degree of MFA in poetry, which has turned out to be a really wonderful set of trainings for being a school leader and thinking about what it means to bring creativity in the world and support other people in what they're working on, and to do it in a way that is precise and careful and studied over together. And after my time at Abington Friends School, I moved out to Michigan and spent 6 years at a school there called University Liggett School. I was attracted to my role there partly because of the way that the school was rethinking what education could be. We were a place that had been a traditional AP-driven program and saw a better way for kids and developed a 4-year academic research program in our high school that was in that spirit of providing kids with the best possible education, preparing them for what's ahead, and doing it in a way that was really authentic to their interests and their curiosities. And then from there, had the opportunity to go serve at Princeton Friends School for the last 9 years as director of the upper school and then assistant head of school for mission and values. And that's been my experience to date. So, yeah.
That's it? So, and that's all really interesting. Thanks for sharing all that. So what attracted you to the position here at the Princeton Friends School?
Yeah, so to me, Princeton Friends School is expressing what a school should be expressing for kids. And that's really what drew me to it, was the opportunity to take the things that I've experienced and bring them to a school where I can lead and help the school grow forward. And I think our school is a place that has such a strong foundation and history and founding vision and real space to grow into all the things that are possible for us to be the flourishing place that we want to be for kids.
So let me ask you a couple questions about the school. So here's a question. Do you need to be a Quaker to attend the school?
No, you do not need to be a Quaker to attend the school. It's interesting. I think across the country in Quaker schools, there are substantially fewer students who are Quaker attending Quaker schools than students of other faith backgrounds. And Quaker schools were intentionally designed for everyone and have a values set to them that I think maps very easily onto lots of faith traditions and also to people who come from a place of not a faith tradition. So absolutely no need to be Quaker to attend a Quaker school.
Okay. Good point to get out there for folks.
Yep.
What grades are taught at the school?
At Princeton Friends School, we are preschool through 8th grade. So we're actually, for the first time this year, bringing in a preschool class of 3 and 4-year-olds to start at the school. And then our students go all the way up through 8th grade and then move on to, in some cases, area public schools, and then, all the area private schools, some day, some boarding, and about preschool through 8th grade.
Yeah, lots of options afterwards. About how many students attend the school?
We will open this year probably with 88 students, and we are a school that, again, those students are across the grades, preschool through 8th grade, so it's a, very small and nurturing environment for the kids in our classes.
Right. So the classroom sizes are probably typically small.
Yes, small classes, 10 students in a class. We have 15 students in a class, sometimes fewer in a particular special environment for students as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So part of what I believe attracts people to a school would be the school's core values. So could you chat a little bit about the core values at the Princeton Friends School?
Yeah, absolutely. So our core values are Quaker values. And as I was saying earlier, a huge piece of the Quaker ethos is wrapped up in the fact that there's that of God in every person, or an inner light in every person. And so, again, we're looking at students that way, looking at each other that way. And then in Quakerism, there's a set of values that have come to be known as the spices that actually are talked about because of the way that Friends schools over the years have talked about their values. And those spices translate into simplicity, peace, integrity, community, equality, and stewardship. And if you walk into just about any Quaker school around the country, you'll hear people talking about those values. They're lived every day at school in all kinds of ways. And at this point, Quaker meetings also talk about the spices, which were something that really came out of schools' ways of describing their values.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay, having heard those values, how would an education at the Friends School differ from any other school?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think at our Friends School, it differs in the way that we use our campus. Because we are Quaker and progressive and have an outdoor approach that takes advantage of the place that we're in. Yeah. I think there are a lot of things about an education at Princeton Friends School that are particularly unique, and they are certainly grounded in the values of the school and the ways in which we think about stewardship and how we take care of the environment of our campus and how we tend the garden on our campus and how we learn in the stream and make use of all of the spaces around. Our kids spend an incredible amount of time in the woods behind the school. And
the setting for the school is, I think, pretty unique. You're not going to find too many schools that have that sort of setting.
Yeah.
So Peter, I guess there must have been a search committee that you had to deal with in the process of them finding a new head for the school.
Yeah.
So what was that like? I mean, were there specific things they were hoping that you and other candidates would have as you came into the process?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the search committee was a wonderful group to deal with. I think that my experience as a candidate looking at the school was really enriched by my interactions with the search committee. I was impressed right away when I met with that group on Zoom by how inclusive they were in their process in drawing in parents and trustees and faculty and staff, and thinking about how they shared the school with me as they were getting to know me as a candidate. And at each step in my process through the search, I found myself deepening my appreciation for the school and deepening my appreciation for the quality of the community and the quality of education that students were getting at Princeton Friends School. I think in terms of what they were looking for in a candidate, I think a big piece of that was the opportunity to bring someone into the community who has a strong background with Friends Schools, who could see and understand the vision of the place and think about how to carry that forward in the best possible ways. I think that we are a school, I don't know how well you've paid attention to Princeton Friends School in recent years, but we're a school that's had some leadership transition in the last 5 or 7 years. And I think it was important to the search committee to meet someone who, again, really understands what the values of the school are and understands the vision of the school and the mission of the school, and is able to bring that forward. For me and for them, I think a feeling of match continued to unfold as the process unfolded.
Yeah. So I guess reading the tea leaves, you're going to be here for a while.
That's the plan. That's the plan. Absolutely. No, I think it's, again, I'm really happy to have landed at Princeton Friends School and really proud of what our program is and what we offer to students and who my faculty are who are delivering that program. And I'm very excited for the opportunity to be able to help them see their best future.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question about the students. Are the students primarily from Princeton or the surrounding towns, or where do the students come from?
Yeah, it's a great question. Our students really come from all over, and it's one of the things that I think is special about the place is that our kids arrive from surrounding zip codes all over the area, and they show up and they wind up joining a family of peers. And because of the size of our school, they end up getting to know each other and connecting and building relationships that stretch across the geography, but they're really coming from all over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any plans for the future of the school that, I don't know whether through the search process or just in the time you've been here, that you're saying, here's some things that might be good for the future? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there are a couple things coming up. We have, if you're paying attention around town, hopefully you'll see a new logo for the school that's appearing shortly, and our families will hear about it as school opens this year and get to enjoy all of that. We just built a new playground that we raised money for last spring and we're able to implement this summer, and our youngest students will come back and have the opportunity to take advantage of a really wonderful new play space. We recently developed a bike program and have access now to a set of bikes that are available to our students so that we can unlock the gate behind campus and ride into town or ride further down to the stream and stretch the walls of campus out. And when we look ahead, I think one of the things that's really exciting for our school is that founded in 1987, we're going to celebrate a 40th birthday in the next couple of years, and thinking about what it looks like for our school to take hold of that and honor where we've come from and where we're going.
Right. Yeah. Right. You have so many opportunities there. So just looking at, you're right by the battlefield, just looking at the site itself, like you said, the meeting house has basically been there about 300 years. There's so much history right there. So I imagine that's kind of quote unquote easy for the school to share with the students, the history of the area and of the school itself. Or of Quakerism itself? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, we enjoy an essential relationship with the meeting itself. And we've also been able to develop a really wonderful relationship with the battlefield and the historians who work there. Our school has a program that we call Central Study that is an anchoring theme that exists every year that allows us to give students a kind of a centering grounding for the learning they're doing across the curriculum. And in this particular year, our central study theme is roots and roots. So we're looking at where we've been and where we're going. And our faculty has been in the process of planning what the launch of that central study is for this fall. And our aim this year is to be able to take hold of our connection to the battlefield and use the battlefield space and look at our campus and look with our students at all the different routes to the battlefield, and then think about the history that's rooted there and explore all of that together as we launch into the way that plays out across the school.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. In addition to the central studies that you just mentioned a short time ago, are there other elements of the program there at the school that you'd care to share with us?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about one or two other things. I think as I was saying earlier, our kids have such an opportunity to tap into their own interests and express themselves. And in addition to the work that they're doing across the curriculum and all their traditional subject areas, they are also experiencing some really distinctive programmatic opportunities. We have a storytelling unit that all of our students engage in the winter, and every student is asked to take a kind of a folk tale or a story that's important to them and make it their own. And we bring in storytellers who work with kids and help them understand what it looks like to tell a story, not just reading pages or verbally, but to bring in all the elements of performative storytelling. And I think it's one of those sets of experiences that kids carry with them. They take ownership over a set of stories across the years. They develop a level of ease with public speaking and expression, and also how to make things their own. And I think that's really special and powerful. And similarly, in the spring, our kids encounter a poetry night where we spend a couple of weeks working with them in their English classes on poetry in particular. And they're not only studying poetry, but writing their own poetry. And there's an evening at the school where every student is able to get up and read one of their own poems. And again, it's one of those spaces where you see confidence bloom for a kid as they share something of value that they've created with the whole community. Parents are invited in. We'd love to see you there for it. If you'd be interested in coming along, it'll be in April this year.
Happy to be there.
Yeah, it'd be terrific.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a great event.
Yeah. Okay.
Peter, thanks for sharing so much about Princeton Friends School. This has really been a great discussion. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate you having me, and I really appreciate your kindness and ease with helping me join your show and share about our school.
Thank you for joining us for the 65th episode of the Princeton Podcast, produced by the podcast production team at HG Media and sponsored by the Municipality of Princeton. If you enjoyed this episode of the Princeton Podcast, please share it with your friends, visit our website at princetonpodcast.com, and be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, Audible, or wherever you get your podcasts.